Welcome to another edition of Patriots No Huddle, brought to you by PatsFans.com. Derek Havens, Steve Balistrieri, your host, as always. Mike Diabate hopefully joining us as well. But Steve could be caught in the snow because I know that he could be dealing with that, but I know you and I certainly not in Florida, and Arizona respectively. But we're not here to talk about the weather here. We're talking about the Patriots win in Denver against the Broncos in the AFC Championship game by a score of 10-7 to advance to the Super Bowl. Steve, we've been talking about this all year long as it's built. Well, what if? And man, they punched their ticket to Santa Clara for Super Bowl LX.
And then there were two, right? All year long, we've been hearing doubts about the Patriots and, oh, they're scheduled this and they're scheduled that. Well, all these other teams that could have taken advantage didn't. And now they're all gone. And it's the Patriots going to face the Seahawks in the Super Bowl. And let's face it, today, we said we weren't going to talk about the weather, but the weather definitely had an effect on this game, especially in the second half. I mean, that looked like a snow globe out there, especially late in the third quarter, into the fourth quarter. I mean, footing was tough, but you know what? The Patriots defense did it again. They held the Broncos to just 7 points on their home turf. They gave up that early touchdown, and after that, it was nothing. And they found their offense in the second half of that, 9.5-minute drive, by running the ball. And I think they set the tone. They set the tone, with the running game, and they clinched it with the running game. Drake May, 65 yards. I got the hiccups.
There you go.
65 yards rushing on a day where it was really hard to throw the football. So, but the Broncos defense, they were legit. We knew that coming in. But I thought the Broncos secondary played extremely well. There was hardly anywhere for May to throw the ball for much of the game. They did hit on a couple of plays that helped. But once again, I think you're talking about the Patriots defense. And again, all week, it was Denver's defense this and Denver's defense that. And it's the Patriots defense that wins the game.
Steve, at what point are we going to give the Patriots defense credit? And I don't mean I should say we, because Patriots fans, people who've been observing the team all year, has seen this defense been turned into a really strong unit. We were just saying this before in our show, before the show, as usual, that the Patriots defense has held three teams now in the postseason to 26 points. Just unbelievable. And Denver's defense was as good as advertised. They certainly deserve a ton of credit. And I think that for the Patriots, they are built for a street fight. And they've been undefeated on the road all season long, but up until this point, obviously, as well. And Denver, we talked about the House of Horrors, and there was all this pressure shift going from the Patriots been underdogs to now pretty strong favorites, with the Bo Nix injury especially, and then for them to go ahead and play with that edge. And I really think just had no problem kind of being like, it's okay if we get, hit and, bloodied up a little bit, but we're going to go ahead and get our licks in too. And they were able to kind of just choke the Broncos out of it here at the end, and I thought it was an impressive win. Was it boring at times in the first half? It was very sloppy. It was an ugly game. I think it's fair to say, Steve, that was the worst offensive game the Patriots have played all season, and there's obviously several different circumstances. And I understand that Drake May hasn't performed extremely well in the postseason, and that the offense has had their issues, but they have done something that no other team has done, which is get to the Super Bowl going through a postseason, which has three top five defenses. And I don't think that should be, I know, look, everyone's going to be, saying that the easy schedule, the Patriots don't deserve to be here. They played like crap. The NFC is going to dominate. But guess what? They're sitting here right now. They've played 20 games this season, Steve. They're 17-3 in 20.
Yeah, well,
20
all
games.
the people that are saying that, that's because their teams are sitting at home with a long face.
Yep.
And look, we saw all the comments after the game, which I found absolutely delicious.
Yep.
Yeah, keep pounding that drum, right? About how Drake May is this and that. Well, he's going to the Super Bowl before Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, right? Justin Herbert, Trevor Lawrence, Baker Mayfield. Am I leaving anybody out?
Yeah. A few of them. A few of them. I mean, just it's
Caleb
incredible.
Williams, right?
Yeah.
He's going before any of them, and they got there by facing a gauntlet of top 5 defenses in the NFL. And look, the last 2 games, the weather has been awful.
Right.
Okay, it was awful in New England last week, and that game in Denver. I mean, let's face it, it looked like guys should have been on snowshoes in the fourth quarter there. I mean, CBS enhanced like the yard markers, so you had a sense of where teams were with the football, but honestly, you couldn't tell.
By the way, I'll
It
take a
was
hard pass on the on those lines that CBS put up there. I was not a fan. I thought it looked really weird.
it did look strange because
just had to throw that
I
in
was
there.
watching the game
Anecdotal.
with a bunch of people, and they were like, "How did they get the lines to come out so?" that's a TV enhancement, But no, I mean, look, they did it the hard way, and Mike Vrabel deserved so much credit.
Yes, he does.
And again, I mean, Drake May, he won the game with his legs in this one. Denver was getting after him, but constantly getting those first downs on scrambles, and those were huge. Kept the ball moving. That, of course, that last one was incredible. Because that clinched it, and Vrabel looked like he was ready to burst. But something, and again, we gave Denver's defense all the credit in the world. They played really well. But one guy, and I mentioned to you on the phone earlier, the one guy's name we didn't hear all day was Nick Bonito.
Nope.
Now, he got pressure. He was getting pressure on there. Not saying he was shut out, but he didn't make any sacks. He didn't make any tackles.
Yeah. Keeping him out of the game was huge. We talked about what Patrick Surtain, can do. And, he did his thing early on in that game. And the defense as advertised, I just would like to go ahead and remind people that the Patriots have a good defense too. And I think they're getting more and more annoyed about it. I think people in Denver that were pounding about how good their offensive line is, and Denver's a good team. I thought the Patriots, I wanted to see the Patriots play Denver. All season, because I thought the Patriots were better, but I didn't think that Denver was like some team that just was not talented or anything like that. I also firmly believe that Bo Nix is a solid quarterback. I actually don't think that Bo Nix would have made a big difference in the outcome of this game. I still think the Patriots win that game, and that's a very long discussion, and we can go back and forth about it. That's fine. I think the weather was a huge factor. The weather of this game was a huge factor. If it's perfect weather outside and Bo Nix is on the field, I would love to see those two teams go head to toe. But you know what? The game is played where it's played, with who's able to play. And again, another thing that the Patriots crossed off their list, and Christian Barmore, I thought was terrific in this game up front. They were swarming to the ball as a unit. I thought Christian Gonzalez making a very nice play, a couple of times, especially with the interception. A heck of a time for his first pick of the season, by the way. And, look, I want to get to the offense here in a second. But, Steve, I do want to start with something else, which is the start of the game. Patriots call tails, elect to defer, Denver starts the ball. We had this discussion on one of the previous shows. I was saying that, to me, in a perfect world, you win the toss, defer, Denver gets the ball, you hold them to a three and out or get a turnover, and then you put points on the board. And that would be, I thought that if those things could happen, you're on easy street. And all of a sudden we get the coin toss. We get the coin toss ball in the second half, 3-and-out for the Broncos. And I'm sitting there and I am grinning ear to ear because all I could see, I could feel it. I go, even if it's just 3 points. And then it seemed like things just kind of flipped a little bit. and that's where, all of a sudden, Cortland Sutton is in the end zone, just I'll fast forward just a little bit later, and Denver has the lead. And you just kind of felt at that point it was going to be a tractor pull. And it was a tractor pull kind of game, and again, I like the way this team is built, this Patriots team is built. They are just down to kind of fight you however style you want to be. You want it to be, you want to be mixed martial arts. If you want to be straight up karate, we do in boxing. They'll do it however you want to do it. If it wants to be a run the ball game or, in a snow globe, or if you want to go ahead and sling it, they've done it all different ways all season, Steve. And that, I think, is one of the most underappreciated elements of this team is they can kind of just kill you in so many different ways. They might not just be great at one specific thing, but they're good in a lot of different areas.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. And look, I mean, I thought they played a little bit of zone at the beginning, and that's where they got burnt, right?
Yep.
Jalen Hawkins looked like he blew the assignment because I thought, it looked like Christian Gonzalez was in trail and thinking he had help over the top, and then it wasn't there. They give up a 50-yard pass, and I'm thinking to myself, boy, here we go again in Denver, right? And then the same thing happened on the touchdown. It looked like they had a bust. And then, Denver moved the ball again the second time. And I thought that 4th-and-1 play turned the game. Because at that moment, right, 4th-and-1, they make it. They probably go in and score again, and it's 14-0. And with points, you kind of knew points were going to be at a premium today, So 14-0 would be a really deep hole to dig yourself out of. But I agreed with Tony Romo because I'm thinking to myself, even 10 points today might be enough. It turns out it was for New England. And Milton Williams blew that 4th-and-1 play up. And then you could sense that the Patriots defense had turned the corner. Then they started playing man coverage. And really, from that point on, Denver's offense really did nothing for the rest of the game, and especially in the second half. I mean, they couldn't get anything going.
Have you ever seen a movie, Steve, where there's people that maybe they're on a river, okay, and they're just floating, and all of a sudden it's very calm, and it looks like there's plenty of river to go, and then all of a sudden they realize there's a waterfall coming up,
yeah,
okay, and they start panicking. That's kind of how this game was played. It was because I think it happened in real time for just people watching on the couch, like all of us, on the show, or whether it was players and coaches on the field. I think I think the whole game that was okay, it's going to be a dogfight. It's going to be back and forth. It's going to be a tractor pull kind of game, and it's all right. We have all this time left. Even after the first half, it was wow, low scoring game. They got a whole second half, and then during that long drive by the Patriots that you talked about to start the second half into the third quarter, I think that's when everyone started realizing how important the points were going to be, because that was when they saw the waterfall, which was, holy crap, the storm is getting worse. Those points, all of a sudden it was they were batten down the hatches. The storm is here. And they knew that it was going to be about potentially final possession, time of possession, and ultimately those points. And I know that Sean Payton was feeling the heat about his play earlier, the way that the conditions went. And I'm sure that, it was in the back of some people's mind that, for the Patriots, where they they failed to really set up Borregales for that long field goal attempt, and I can't really blame him for missing that 63-yarder by any means. But of course,
not in those conditions.
no. But it was the points. The points were at a premium, and I think it just came upon like some kind of a panic just because the elements were a total factor.
Yeah, and again, I mean, look, Sean Payton is going to have to spend the entire offseason looking back on that because, that potentially, it would have been a tie game. Now, look, we know in the fourth quarter, the Patriots were very content just to run the ball and rely on the defense, right? So were they really trying to put the ball in harm's way and try to score again? I don't think so. I think they had a 10-7 lead, and they were like, this is going to be enough.
Right.
And yeah, we're just going to run the ball, kill the clock, and we're not going to put the ball in harm's way. And, they didn't have any turnovers today. Now, that was something they had turned the ball over, quite a bit the first two games. And so it's tough to say that would have been, overtime. But at the same time, you don't know what would have happened. But at the same time, Sean Payton, I think his ego got a little bit the best of him. I think he was trying to make a statement there. Like, I told you this kid was going to light it up. Now we're going up 14-0, and we're just going to put the hammer down. Well, that came back to bite them. And it really, really changed the outlook of the game. Because I think after that point, Patriots went to man coverage, and they said, we're going to blitz Stidham like we did to these other quarterbacks, and, we're going to dare you to beat us. And look, when they had pressure on Stidham, he was 1 of 10 for 4 yards with 3 sacks and, a fumble lost and an interception. And with a quarterback rating of 0, which is really hard to do.
Yep.
That's really hard to do.
Yep. 1 of 10, 4 yards. You said 3 sacks.
Yeah. And then a fumble lost, which they blew the whistle kind of quick on that one. But at the same time, at least they got the ball. And then the interception at the end.
I went right back to that Jaguars AFC Championship game with the Patriots several years ago when they blew that whistle, and I was like, I know it. Look, it helped the Patriots here, or I heard the Patriots here. It helped them, back there. I don't understand why referees just can't learn to swallow those whistles in those moments. It absolutely is bananas.
Let the play go, and then sort it out.
It just makes so much more sense to do it that way. I understand that there is issues, but it's hard.
But, think about it. I mean, what happens? I mean, Drake May ends up running it in for a touchdown, right? Ties the game. But what happens if on that play he gets hit, behind the line of scrimmage and loses the football?
Right.
Then they come away with 0 points. That's why the officials, I mean, sometimes they just gotta let it play out and then sort it out,
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Man, we've covered a couple of different things here. So let's just get into Drake, Steve. There was a couple of bad parts of this game for the Patriots. Unfortunately, the offense was one of them. Now, give credit again to Denver's defense, which we have been doing. Will Campbell really struggled on the left tackle again today. Drake May certainly struggled in this game. A lot of misfires. Probably had 4 or 5 throws he'd like to have back for sure. It just didn't look comfortable. Didn't look comfortable, Steve, for him. Again, you do have to. It is a weighted grade because it is the postseason. 2 of these 3 games were in bad conditions. One was bad. One was horrible. And I'm curious to see what it looks like in the Super Bowl with 2 weeks of preparation and in an environment that is not going to be affected negatively by weather in all likelihood in Santa Clara.
Let's hope it's
So
not pouring, during the game.
yeah, but he struggled. Now again, were there some throws that he had that were good? Yep. Was able to slide with that second left. That was a key play. Oh, actually, I didn't even see Quig just mentioned that same thing too. Quig, what's up, man? And then of course calling the audible and going ahead picking up the first down that ultimately punched their ticket to the Super Bowl. Steve, I mean, he did make plays there in that game, but what are your thoughts on Drake's performance? Because it was a tough outing today for him.
Yeah, I mean, look, as I told you on the phone early, I mean, I thought at least 3 of those 5 sacks on him were coverage sacks. No one was getting open. There was nowhere for him to go throw the football. Now, he did have some, open spots where he just flat out missed guys. And, whether that was because of the pressure or, the elements, whatever, I mean, he has to make those.
Mhm.
Especially to Booty. I mean, he targeted Booty 6 times. They only completed 1 pass for 6 yards. So,
Right.
that was they were banking a lot on that. Now, the thing that struck me is how many times, right? We thought they were going to target what's his name, Riley. Was it Riley Moore? I think it is
Riley Moss.
Riley Moss. Yeah,
Yep.
and they didn't
I thought he
target him
was.
all day.
Yeah, well, I again, the weather does affect that a little bit, but yeah, but not the first half. And I mean, I was stunned. I didn't understand what was going on with. Again, I'm sure I'm going to be able to pick some more stuff up than just sitting in front of the TV watching it live one time. But going back and watching it again, I'm curious to see what they were doing because I just didn't understand. There was just like no rhythm, no flow. They struggled with so many things. It was, the only good thing I'll say about him is, about them as a group is they didn't turn the ball over, which ultimately was going to be a huge factor for this team. I think that again, Josh and Drake, they miss their moments, or they miss their moments. They have their moments of being great, but the inconsistency in this postseason is definitely something that, look, let's be honest, they're not going to be able to afford that, Steve, in the Super Bowl. I mean, they opened up for what it's worth. The Patriots did open up as 4-point underdogs to the Seahawks. I think 4 is a very good number. That I think that makes a lot of sense. The Seahawks look terrific, and we're going to have 2 weeks to get into the game. So we'll share some final thoughts on that here shortly. But
Yeah,
I do think, if when you're going to be at this stage, Steve, you have to eliminate, the mistakes on those ends, on your end. And they did that today. And ultimately in this kind of a close game, they could not have the opportunity. They didn't have the opportunity in this game, but the margin of error like they did against the Houston Texans with all those turnovers by CJ Stroud. They needed to win that turnover battle today, and ultimately they were able to do that.
yeah. They forced 2 turnovers. They didn't turn the ball over. Hey, look, Denver came into this game 12-2 in 1-score games. They've been in these games all year long.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, all of their games were 1-score games, it seemed like, right? Well, 14 out of whatever, right? And so, look, the fact that they were able to do this, they're such a resilient bunch. And no moment seems too big for them. And look, the offense, it is what it is. They need to figure out something. I do want to see them play back with good weather again.
Mm-hmm.
You know, although I will say this, they were 9-0 on the road this year. Theoretically, the Super Bowl is a neutral site. It's going to be another road game. I
Oh,
think,
100%.
yeah, that crowd will be 95% Seahawks, and so it's basically going to be a tenth, you know, it's going to be a 10th road game for them.
Yep.
The people who buy tickets for that are not going to see the Patriots win. So there'll be very few Patriots fans there. And that was one of the things that I disliked what Denver did. They refused to sell tickets to anyone without a Colorado.
Yeah, you need a residence, but there's ways you can get around that a little bit.
Right. But that's
it's weak though. It is weak.
It is. And but
it didn't help. So good. Spend your money.
So.
Hey, we'll take it. It really is unbelievable, Steve. I mean, in all seriousness, there's plenty of time for jokes. I mean, some of them are really good, talking about just like whether it's people praying for the Chiefs' downfall just to see the Patriots come back, whether it's I've seen shots at Bill Belichick. Brady went to go to Tampa, got one. The Patriots are back in the Super Bowl. I've seen that. I've seen shots at the AFC East. It's good. I mean, it's good. It's a good time to be a Patriots fan, and Patriots fans should enjoy this win. I mean, it's a very cool. It's an unbelievable story too. Unbelievable story.
And look, you never know. Okay. If you're going to make it back again. I mean, look at Dan Marino, right? He made it in his second year, right? Everyone thought Marino would be there all the time. So, the opportunity is going to be there. But I'll tell you what, this Patriots team is not going to be a flash in the pan. They're solid, all three, phases of the game. They still have a bunch of draft picks. They still have a ton of money, right? With the cap space coming up this coming season, and they don't have a slew of free agents coming up.
They only have 6.
Yeah. So I think, you never know. Of course, injuries, whatever, you can get dropped back in the pack quickly. But at the same time, I think this team is set up for continued success. And, kudos to Mike Vrabel. I mean, and Elliott Wolf, they hit on so many things this year, with their free agent class. And at the time, a lot of people didn't give the Patriots free agent class much love, other than Milton Williams, who was like one of the big, targets from everyone this year. And think about how close they came to losing him. He was getting ready to sign with Carolina, and then they opened up a Brinks truck for him, and again his play turned the crowd, so turned the game. Excuse me.
And quick mentions: New England's gonna be a prime destination for this offseason, and I agree. I do think. I mean, I don't want to take away too much from the game and everything, but I mean, just going off of what you just shared and what Quig shared, it's like to me. It's an unbelievable story for the team, for the franchise. This is something where you can really look to add and build onto this year, no matter the outcome of the Super Bowl. Now, of course, everybody wants everyone who's listening to this podcast likely wants the Patriots to win. But I would say, for me, I just think that just looking at where the season's going to put them moving forward. It's going to put them in such great position to really kind of build on what they have going here. And I still think there's a lot of work to do, trust me. I mean, I think this offseason, they have a lot of holes that I think they need to fill and address and get better. And they will, and there'll be time for that. But just when we talk about team building and how important all these steps are, they hit a home run in every aspect, and you're seeing it put together. And look, when everybody listening is seeing things on social media or hearing it, with people talking about the Patriots don't deserve to be here for X number of reasons. Again, they can only play who they played, and they won 17 out of the 20 times they played the season. You're able, if you want to say that Drake May hasn't played well the postseason, I would say, yeah, he hasn't played great, but he won them a lot of games throughout the season. He had a terrific year. And so a couple of rough postseason starts, 2 in inclement weather, I'm not going to go ahead and hose him for. And then defensively, again, they're not getting any credit for some reason. Even still, they this game, this Super Bowl could be Seahawks could win by 10, and the score could be, you know, uh, you know, whatever, 16-10, and people are still going to go ahead and say the Patriots suck, even though they would have held Seattle to 16 points. There's nothing that they're gonna do where people are going
Right.
to.
Well, look, and then again, they're going to lose with the national media, right? Regardless, because if they lose, well, that's because AFC sucked this year, right? And Seahawks are a better team. Okay.
Yeah.
But if they win, it's going to be, well, it's because Matthew Stafford wasn't there and they beat Sam Darnold. I mean, tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong, right? And regardless of how the game would turn out, it could end up being, 45-42 New England, right? But they would still say, oh, that's because, Sam Darnold.
It's always tough. It's always tough, Steve, with the build up to the Super Bowl, because it does feel like it. I know how the next 2 weeks are going to go. Luckily, we're fortunate as Patriots fans. We know how these next 2 weeks are going to go. It's going to be very exciting. Radio Row to me is so fun. I love being able to, just hear all the different interviews and guests, and it's just covered so well. But so I'm looking forward to that. But we know after probably by a week from now, we're gonna be like, okay, it's about time to start the game, and we'll have to wait that long week, and that'll be interesting. So there's gonna be a lot of build up. We'll have plenty of time to go ahead and dive into it, and we'll do that on our next episode of Patriots No Huddle. But Steve, give me your final thoughts. For our final thoughts for this show, I guess obviously we've already shared about the Patriots and the victory versus the Rams. Give me your just initial thoughts here on the Super Bowl matchup against the Seattle Seahawks.
Well, I think it's going to be a tough matchup for the Patriots because Seattle's defense, another one that's just, I mean, their defense is really, really good. And look, they have JSN, Kenneth Walker. And if this is the Sam Darnold that they're going to face in the Super Bowl, then it's going to be tough. Now we know Darnold still has his moments, but I think it's going to be a tough matchup. But at the same time, now it's a one-game tournament, and we've seen this before. Where everyone's writing it off New England, and they come out and they end up beating all these teams. But I'll just leave you with this one final thought. Robert Kraft is going to his 11th Super Bowl since the Dallas Cowboys went to their last one. But yet Jerry Jones is in the Hall of Fame and Robert Kraft is not.
Yeah.
Tell me what's wrong with that picture.
Yep. Couple different head coaches, couple different quarterbacks. It's all right. Well, that's all right. But yeah, my initial
that just came to mind because there was so much negative stuff going around about the Patriots after the game from all these other teams' Twitter accounts. Because especially Buffalo fans, oh my goodness!
Oh, that was just
Buffalo fans they've been having an apoplexy as
take the shoelaces and belts away from the upper the upstate New York area. If you're on Twitter, definitely check out Bill's Twitter. It is burning to the ground right now, and it's just absolutely terrific. My initial thoughts, final thoughts for this show, and initial thoughts on the Super Bowl matchup. It's going to be a hell of a challenge for the Patriots. The Seahawks are very well balanced. Kenneth Walker, very electric with the ball in his hands. JSN just having an incredible season. Those two guys are going to keep, those two guys alone are going to keep it, the Patriots defense busy. Then, Sam Darnold look, I know he's not a world-beating quarterback, but when Sam's on, like he absolutely was in this game, he's very, very capable, and he's very solid. I feel like, he's not going to probably lose them a lot of games, and they've had some quarterbacks that have made a lot of mistakes. I'm not Sam's probably not going to do that. They keep the offense, again, very balanced. Defensively, they play with an edge. They play with the tenacity. They love to play downhill. It's going to be a challenge up front. That defense is fast sideline to sideline. It's going to be an absolute slugfest, and I think it's going to be really fun. I think that there's going to be some trash talking, I think, by both teams. I just think that both teams are kind of grab your hats and lunch pails and head to work kind of teams. And I think it's just going to be an old school, real good matchup. I do think on paper the Seahawks are a more talented team. I don't think that it is blasphemy to say that, but I do think that there's going to be a lot of people that think the Patriots have no chance going into this game, and I would just say that you're dead wrong.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Because again, I mean, we've seen that before.
Yeah. We'll have several shows. 2, maybe even 3 before the game. Again, we're recording this Sunday evening. Right now, it's just coming up on 11 o'clock Eastern. So we thank everyone who's listening live. We appreciate you. Appreciate everyone who's commented in. Shout out to Quig as always. Sorry, Mike D. Bay couldn't join us tonight. Mike, we missed you, but we'll have him here next time.
Yeah, hopefully his power's on. I know.
Yeah, I hope so.
Providence was getting whacked pretty hard. So
yeah, absolutely. And everyone around the country in this weather, please stay safe. And it'll be definitely an exciting ramp up period. Steve going to another Super Bowl. It's absolutely incredible. This team is here. Patriots fans, enjoy this one. Again, this is the Patriots No Huddle podcast brought to you by PatsFans.com. Derek Haven, Steve Balscherry here is your host, and we will see you guys next week on the show. Be sure, again, to subscribe to us on YouTube, like, share, leave us a review on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. It keeps us high at those podcast rankings so other Patriots fans can find us. The Patriots are the champions of the AFC, and they are heading to the Super Bowl after a win in Denver. We will see you guys in 2 days.
That just sounds so